My sister and BIL flaunted their success while calling me a starving artist. They had no idea my animation studio was in the final stages of buying their stable tech firm. What happened when they found out? I, 33M, always hated family reunions. Always. It's the same script, different year. Forced smiles, passive-aggressive comments disguised as jokes, and the inevitable pitying glances sent my way. I'm the artistic one. The dreamer who supposedly never grew up. The one who chased a childish passion instead of getting a real job. For years, that's been the narrative. And honestly, for a long time, parts of it were true. I did struggle. I did eat ramen noodles for weeks on end. But things change. People grow. Success, however, often happens quietly, especially when you don't feel the need to broadcast it to people who wouldn't believe you anyway. This year's reunion felt heavier, somehow. Held at my aunt's sprawling, slightly too manicured backyard. The air buzzed with fake cheerfulness and the smell of slightly burnt barbecue. I grabbed a beer, trying to find a quiet corner, but it's like I have a homing beacon for condescending relatives. First, it was an uncle, clapping me on the back a little too hard. Still chasing that art thing, huh? Good for you. Someone's got to keep the dream alive, I guess. He winked, like we were sharing a secret joke about my inevitable failure. I just nodded, sipping my beer. Engaging was pointless. Then came the cousins, talking loudly about their recent promotions, their new cars, their upcoming European holidays. They'd occasionally glance my way, a silent, "And what have you done?" hanging in the air. I offered a tight smile and focused on a loose thread on my jeans. The main event, as always, was my older sister. She's always been sharp-tongued, ambitious in a way that seemed to require diminishing others, especially me. She works in marketing for a mid-sized tech firm, something solid, respectable, predictable. She cornered me near the dessert table, holding a plate piled high with cheesecake. She looked me up and down, her eyes lingering on my plain t-shirt and jeans. It wasn't designer, but it was comfortable. Unlike her, I didn't feel the need to wear my bank account on my sleeve. Well, she started, that familiar smirk playing on her lips. Look who decided to grace us with his presence. Took time off from. What is it you do again? I draw, I said flatly. She let out a short, humorless laugh. Right? Still drawing your little cartoons. She leaned in conspiratorially, though her voice carried. Seriously, when are you going to give that up? It was cute when you were 20. You're 32 now. Don't you think it's time for a real career? Mom worries, you know. Her husband, standing beside her, chimed in. He's in finance at the same tech firm. A bit smug, always seemed slightly threatened by anyone not on his exact corporate ladder rung. Yeah, man, the market's tough. Gotta be realistic. Our company, for instance, just posted record earnings. He puffed his chest out slightly. Stability, you know? That's the key. Little cartoons, I repeated quietly, tasting the bitterness of years of dismissal. The countless all-nighters, the failed pitches, the soul-crushing rejections, the gamble of pouring every penny I had, and then pennies I didn't have, into building something from scratch. The breakthroughs, the deals signed under NDAs, the quiet, relentless climb. They saw none of it. They saw the kid brother who liked to doodle. I almost cracked. Almost laid it all out. Almost wiped that smirk off her face. But where was the satisfaction in that? Proving something to people who decided my worth years ago felt empty. Besides, the timing wasn't right. The final confirmation had only pinged on my phone an hour ago, just as I parked down the street from my aunt's house. The acquisition was complete. The press release was scheduled for Monday morning. Something like that, I mumbled, turning away to grab a brownie I didn't want. The conversation shifted away from me, back to safer topics like property taxes and their kids' soccer league. But I noticed something else. A low current of anxiety beneath the surface. My sister's husband kept checking his phone. I overheard snippets from another group. Words like acquisition, rumors, new management, uncertainty. Apparently, their stable tech firm had been the subject of intense acquisition rumors for weeks. Morale was low. People were nervous. The acquiring company was known for shaking things up, and its identity was kept tightly under wraps, described only as a rapidly expanding, somewhat unconventional media and animation group. My sister's husband saw me listening. Big news at work, he said, trying to sound casual but failing. Some buyout happening. Probably good, streamlined things. Though, you know how these things are. He forced a laugh. Hope the new bosses know what they're doing. Heard it's some animation studio, of all things. Can you believe it? Buying a tech firm. My sister scoffed. Probably some fly-by-night operation run by kids who got lucky with one viral video. I just looked at them. The irony was so thick, I could barely breathe. My little cartoons had grown. They'd grown into a multi-million-dollar animation studio with divisions in software development, IP creation, and now, strategic acquisition. The fly-by-night operation was mine, and I had just bought the company they were so proud of, the one providing their vaunted stability. I stayed for another hour, enduring the small talk, the veiled insults, the sheer obliviousness. It was like watching a play where I was the only one who knew the ending. Part of me felt a savage surge of satisfaction, a desire to stand on the picnic table and announce it. But another part, the part that had built my success quietly and deliberately, held back. The reveal would happen, just not here. Not like this. As I was leaving, my aunt intercepted me at the door. "Take care, dear," she said, pressing a foil-wrapped plate of leftovers into my hands. "Don't work too hard on those drawings, okay? Make sure you're eating properly." "I'm eating just fine, Auntie," I said, managing a genuine smile for the first time all day. "Things are looking up." She patted my cheek. "That's nice, dear. Maybe next year you'll have some real news for us." Driving away, I didn't feel anger anymore, just a strange sense of detachment. They lived in their world, defined by their narrow metrics of success. I lived in mine, and mine had just bought theirs. The leftovers felt heavy on the passenger seat. I wasn't a starving artist anymore, but somehow, I still felt hungry. Hungry for respect? Maybe. Or maybe just hungry for people to see beyond the caricature they'd created. Monday was going to be interesting. Update 1. Okay, so it's been a few days since the reunion, and, well, things escalated exactly how you might expect, just maybe faster. Monday morning, 9 a.m. sharp, the official press release went out. It announced the acquisition of tech firm by the studio. It included the standard corporate jargon, synergy, future growth, blah blah blah. It also included a brief bio and quote from the acquiring CEO. Me, using my full name. My phone started blowing up around 9:05 a.m. First call was my brother-in-law. He sounded breathless, panicked. Is this a joke? The email just went company-wide. The name? That's you, right? I kept it professional. Yes, it's me. The acquisition is complete. But how? When? Why didn't you say anything? An animation studio? Buying us. The indignation was palpable, mixed with sheer terror. It's been in the works for a while, BIL. Confidentiality agreements are standard practice. As for the why, our studio has diversified significantly. We have tech interests that align with your company's portfolio. My job, he stammered. What about my job? And Emma? She's in marketing there. Look, I said, keeping my voice level. This isn't the time or place for that discussion. There will be official communications from HR regarding integration and staffing. Nothing is personal. He spluttered something about needing to talk, needing to understand, but I cut him off politely, citing meetings. Next came my sister. Not a call. A text message. All caps. You did this. You bought our company? After everything? Is this some sick revenge because I told you to get a real job? Followed by, you can't fire us. Dad will kill you. And then, answer me, you selfish. I didn't reply. What could I say? Anything I texted would be screenshotted and probably twisted. I needed to keep clear boundaries. This was now a professional situation, complicated immensely by personal history. Then came the calls and texts from other relatives. My aunt sounded bewildered. Honey, your cousin just called me. Something about your cartoons and sister's husband's company? I don't understand. I gave her a heavily sanitized version, focusing on the business growth and leaving out the family drama aspect. She still sounded confused, but wished me well. My parents called. My mom was crying. A mixture of shock, confusion, and maybe pride. We had no idea you were doing so well. Why didn't you tell us? Your sister is beside herself. My dad was quieter, asking practical questions about the business, but I could hear the underlying, "What the hell is going on?" in his voice. I assured them I wasn't trying to be secretive, just focused, and that the NDAs were strict. I also told them firmly that any employment decisions regarding my sister or BIL would be handled through official channels, based on merit and business needs, not family ties or feuds. The sheer whiplash is staggering. The starving artist is suddenly the guy holding the cards for family members who spent years looking down on him. It's not the triumphant, "I told you so" moment I might have fantasized about during lean years. It feels messy, complicated. My sister and BIL are apparently freaking out, telling everyone I did this to them. Some relatives are siding with them, painting me as some vengeful tech bro who used his success to screw over family. Others are suddenly very interested in my creative journey and asking if I need investors. Right now, my focus is on the business integration. It's a massive undertaking. I've instructed my executive team and HR on how to handle the transition, emphasizing professionalism and objective assessments. Nepotism, positive or negative, has no place here. But yeah, the family dynamics are a dumpster fire. No contact with my sister since her angry texts. BIL is apparently trying to figure out who he needs to suck up to in my company. It's ugly, and the reunion feels like a lifetime ago. Update 2. It's been about 2 months now. The initial shockwave has passed, replaced by the grinding reality of merging two company cultures and dealing with the human fallout, both professionally and personally. Professionally, the integration is challenging. As expected, my studio culture is fast-paced, creative, maybe a bit chaotic. Theirs was more traditional corporate hierarchy. Clashes were inevitable. We had to make some tough decisions. Yes, there were layoffs. It's never easy, but it was necessary to eliminate redundancies and streamline operations for the new combined vision. Now, about my sister and BIL. This was the trickiest part. I recused myself entirely from any direct decisions about their roles. I delegated that to my COO and head of HR, providing them only with the organizational structure and business goals. I made it clear, evaluate them based solely on their performance, role necessity, and fit within the new structure, just like anyone else. No special treatment, positive or negative. Document everything. The outcome: BIL kept his job. Barely. His department saw significant restructuring, and his role was diminished. He's no longer managing a team, and his responsibilities are much narrower. According to the objective reports, his performance was adequate but not stellar, and his skill set fit a specific niche we needed, albeit a smaller one. He knows he's lucky, and, from what I hear indirectly, he's keeping his head down. The smugness is gone, replaced by a quiet anxiety. We haven't spoken directly since that first panic call. My sister? She was let go. Her marketing role was deemed redundant. The review showed her performance was average, but more critically, her department overlapped significantly with my existing marketing team, which has specific expertise in our niche media/entertainment field. The report also noted some issues flagged by her previous direct reports regarding management style. Apparently, her tendency to diminish people wasn't limited to family gatherings. It was a purely business decision, documented thoroughly. But you can imagine how that went down. She didn't contact me directly. Instead, she launched a campaign via my parents and other relatives. Accusations flew. I was vengeful, cold-hearted, destroying the family, abusing my power. She claimed she was a top performer targeted solely because she was my sister and I wanted revenge for childhood slights and her reunion comments. My parents tried to mediate. They're caught in the middle and deeply uncomfortable. Mom pleaded with me to reconsider, for the sake of the family. Dad tried a more logical approach, asking if there wasn't any role she could fill. I had to be firm. I explained the process, the objective criteria, the fact I recused myself. I reiterated that bringing her back would be nepotism and undermine the entire process, potentially opening the company to legal issues and destroying morale among other employees who were retained based on merit. It caused a massive rift. My parents are strained with me, though they haven't cut contact completely. They understand the business logic, I think, but emotionally, they're struggling with the fallout involving their daughter. Several aunts, uncles, and cousins are firmly team sister and are giving me the cold shoulder. Others are awkwardly trying to stay neutral. A few have quietly reached out to say they understand it was a business decision and respect how I handled it, even if it's tough. The satisfaction I thought I might feel, it's completely absent. Seeing my sister unemployed, even if based on a fair assessment, doesn't feel good. Hearing about her bitterness, the family divisions, it's just sad. The reunion incident feels pathetic in hindsight, on everyone's part. Her sneering was insecurity, my silence was partly pride, partly strategy. Now the consequences are real and painful. I'm focusing on the company. We just landed a major streaming deal for a new animated series, the kind of thing I dreamed about during those ramen noodle days. That feels good. That feels real. The family stuff? It feels like a weight, a complication I never anticipated when I was just trying to build something cool. Update 3. It's been nearly a year since the acquisition, about 9 months since Update 2. Life has moved on, but the landscape has definitely shifted. The company, business is booming. The integration pains have mostly subsided, and the combined entity is actually stronger than I'd projected. The tech firm's assets, streamlined and refocused, are complementing our animation and IP development work in ways I'd hoped, but wasn't sure would materialize. We've launched 2 successful projects post-acquisition, and the buzz around the studio is positive. My team is incredible, and honestly, the day-to-day challenge and creativity of the work are what keep me sane. BIL is still employed, still in his reduced role. By all accounts, he's working hard, perhaps humbled. We exchange polite nods if we pass in the hallway, but nothing more. The professional boundary remains firmly in place. My sister, she found a new job after a few months at a smaller marketing agency. From what I hear, it's a step down in terms of title and pay, but she's employed. Our relationship is non-existent. We haven't spoken a single word since her angry text last year. We were in the same room briefly at Christmas at my parents' house, an exercise in extreme tension and avoidance. She actively ignored me, and I didn't push it. It was incredibly awkward for everyone, especially my parents. My parents. Things are better, but not the same. They've accepted the situation, largely because they see I'm not backing down and because, frankly, my sister's continued bitterness makes it hard even for them to fully defend her position anymore. They're proud of my success, I think, but there's a layer of sadness about the family fracture that probably won't ever go away. We talk regularly, focus on neutral topics, and avoid discussing my sister unless absolutely necessary. It's a workable truce, but the closeness we had before all this feels bruised. Other relatives, the lines drawn in the sand seem permanent. Those who sided with my sister maintain their distance. Those who were neutral or supportive remain so. The family reunions? I skipped this year's. Sent my regrets, citing work commitments. The thought of navigating that minefield again just felt exhausting. Maybe someday, but not yet. Personal reflection. Looking back at that reunion, it feels like a catalyst for something that was probably inevitable. The starving artist narrative was convenient for everyone, including me sometimes. It let me fly under the radar. When the reality of my life changed so drastically and collided with their fixed perception, the structure just collapsed. Do I regret how it played out? I regret the pain caused, especially to my parents. I regret that my relationship with my sister, already strained, seems irreparable now. But do I regret the business decision regarding her employment? No. It was the right thing for the company, handled as fairly as possible. Do I regret revealing my success? Not really. It was bound to come out. Maybe the reunion confrontation forced the issue in a dramatic way, but the truth is the truth. The gotcha moment I might have craved as a struggling artist never really materialized into pure satisfaction. It was fleeting, quickly overshadowed by the messy human reality. Success brought challenges I never imagined, and repairing family bridges broken by resentment and corporate restructuring is harder than building a company from scratch. For now, I'm focusing on the future. My work, my team, my chosen family of friends who knew and supported me through thick and thin. The relationship with my biological family remains a work in progress, some parts likely lost for good. It's not the triumphant ending some might want, but it's realistic. And honestly, after everything, realistic feels like enough. Maybe that's the real job, navigating the complex, imperfect reality of life, success, and the people who knew you before it all happened.